Teami Tea, does it work? Hey gang, it's Joe Cannon from SupplementClarity.com. Today's video, I want to discuss that very topic. Teami Detox Tea, specifically Teami Skinny Tea and Teami Colon Tea. I want to do some different things that you may have seen elsewhere on YouTube land. I want to go to the ingredients in Skinny Tea and Colon Tea, and I want to review the clinical evidence on them and try to give you a better idea whether they work or not and which ingredients might be the active ingredients, okay? So let's just jump right into this. This is going to be a little bit longer video because I got two products I want to uncover for you, and let's just jump right into it. So when I started my review on Teami Tea, which I'll put a link in the description to my full review, I quickly encountered a variety of celebrities who were saying how great this product was. We've got everybody from Cardi B, one of the Kardashian sisters, Demi Lovato, and go figure, Sarah Palin and her daughter Bristol, all touting the benefits of Teami Tea. I'm not going to talk any more about the celebrity endorsements. Again, I'm not a big fan of celebrity endorsements because they're not scientists or anything like that. So let's forget these and just jump right into the research. I'm going to break this up into the skinny tea part and the colon tea part of this review, and let's start with skinny tea. So when we look at Teami Skinny Tea, we've got 7 different ingredients. The first 3 we want to pay attention to. They are Yerba Mate, Oolong tea, and number 3 is Jiao Gulam. I'll talk about that in a moment. Lotus leaf, lime, ginger, rhubarb. I don't see these having any significant weight loss effects. At the bottom of the screen, you see it also mentions it has plant-based caffeine, and that is probably mostly coming from both Yerba Mate and Oolong tea. Both of these have caffeine. Now, before we go any further, what's plant-based caffeine? It's just caffeine. Caffeine in a plant, caffeine made in a lab, caffeine's caffeine. Okay, there's no difference in the chemical structure here. Now, let's talk about each of these first 3 ingredients, Yerba Mate, Oolong tea, and Jiao Gulam, individually. Let's start with Yerba Mate. There is actually a study on Yerba Mate and weight loss, and let's unpack it here. Here it is. Came out in 2017, Yerba Mate metabolic satiety and mood state effects at rest and during exercise. This is a study of 12 women who were given either a placebo or 2 grams of Yerba Mate. And essentially, these researchers noted that the women had a lower desire to eat, as well as more focus, energy, and concentration. And these effects were significantly different than the placebo. This kind of makes sense in that Yerba Mate is a source of caffeine. Caffeine can lower our desire to eat, and caffeine is very well known to improve focus, energy, and concentration. So this does make sense to me. The big problem with this particular study I see is it only involves 12 people, 12 women. And I personally like to see a study that has 50 to 100 people, or if not more. It is what it is. And so I'm going to leave this alone and just move on. Now, before we go any further, I can't talk about Yerba Mate without discussing the elephant in the room, and that is the research that appears to link Yerba Mate consumption, long-term Yerba Mate consumption, to cancer. Yes, that research is out there, and what I want to do for the next minute or two is just show you some of that research. Okay, here we go. Here's a study that comes out back in 2011, Mate Consumption and Risk of Cancer, a multi-site case control study in Uruguay. Basically, these researchers looked at 13,000 people from 1990 to 2004, and they come to this conclusion. Mate consumption was directly associated with cancers of the upper digestive tract, esophagus, stomach cancer, larynx cancer, lung, cervix, prostate, bladder, and kidney. Basically, there are, what most people don't realize is that there are compounds in mate that are technically called polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. These are cancer-causing agents. And long-term consumption does appear to increase the risk of a variety of different cancers. Okay, so here's one study. Earlier than this, there was another study that came out. The beverage made a risk factor for cancer of the head and neck. Again, these researchers come to a similar conclusion when they looked at the literature. They say the research suggests that mate consumption is cancer-causing and plays a role in the development of cancers of the mouth, pharynx, larynx, and esophagus. Now, if we go down here to the conclusions, we see something interesting. It says, the exact mechanism of cancer-causing process by mate is unknown. Both chemical and thermal cancer-causing mechanisms have been suggested. In other words, some researchers have said, no, it's not the mate, it's the temperature of the beverage that's causing the cancer. Again, perhaps maybe, and when you drink something that's hot, this opens up mucous membranes, which may allow for better access of these cancer-causing agents to enter the body. Now, I bring this up because here's an interesting other study which came out recently, and it came out in 2018, and its title is Comparative Esophageal Cancer Assessment of Hot Beverage Consumption, Coffee, Mate, and Tea, the Margin of Exposure of Polycyclic Aromatic Hydrocarbons versus Very Hot Temperatures. So basically, these researchers wanted to see, is it the cancer-causing compounds in mate, or is it the hot temperature of the beverage, which is increasing the risk of esophageal cancer? They conclude it's the temperature, not the mate, that's causing esophageal cancer. So this is an interesting study, and so what I would say to you is that, okay, there may be, it makes sense that the temperature may play a role, and I've often wondered if it did, but it doesn't really explain the other types of cancer, that mate has been thought to contribute to. So I want to show you this research in full disclosure. My hope is that you take this knowledge to your doctor and say, hey, doc, what do you think about mate and cancer? And let them give you some more personalized opinions on this. Now, I will point out to you that the research shows that it takes years for this cancer to pop up. It doesn't happen after 6 weeks or 6 months or anything like that. And again, since we're talking about a detox tea, a weight loss tea here, I don't think anybody's going to be taking detox teas for 5 years in a row. Okay, so the risk of this stuff happening with any kind of a detox tea is most likely minimal, if not infinitesimal. The risk is very, very low. But again, I wanted to bring this up and be in full disclosure to give you both sides of this. Again, I want to leave this alone and just go to the other ingredients in the skinny tea, which I actually think are more sexy here. For instance, here's a study of oolong tea and weight loss. Beneficial effects of oolong tea consumption on diet-induced overweight and obese subjects. Essentially, this was a 6-week study, involved over 100 people. They gave them either a placebo or 8 grams of oolong tea per day, and they noted that 70% of the people who took the oolong tea lost more than a kilogram of body weight. That's 2.2 pounds for us in America, and 64% of the obese subjects lost, and 66% of overweight subjects, again, lost more than a kilogram. Again, that's not a whole lot over the course of 6 weeks, but it is something, okay? So I believe that studies like this is one of the reasons why you're probably going to see oolong tea in a variety of different weight loss teas, as well as other weight loss supplements per se, okay? So again, that makes sense. Let's leave this alone and jump to another ingredient, which is called Jiao Gulam. Its scientific name is Gynostemia pentaphyllum. Okay, this is actually a unique ingredient to Teami Tea that I have not seen in other weight loss teas I've looked at before. And it actually has a study on it. And here it is. It's titled Anti-Obesity Effect of Gynostemia pentaphyllum Extract, a randomized double-blind placebo-controlled trial. Hey, that's one of the best kinds of studies out there. Now, before we go any further, I want you to realize that this was a study of an extract of Jiao Gulam, and the extract is called actoponin. Now, in this 12-week study, they gave people a placebo or 450 milligrams of this actoponin extract. And they noted that people who took the extract actually had lost abdominal weight, their body weight was lower, their body fat mass, percent body fat, body mass index was significantly less than compared to the people who took the placebo product. Now, I read this study, and I do want to point out to you that they measured body fat using bioelectric impedance analysis. That's a common measurement of body fat. If you ever go to a fitness center, you'll probably realize that's exactly how they measure body fat. It's not the best measure out there. It's not the worst measurement out there either. It's quick and easy, and that's why it's often used. That could be a problem with this particular study, but I do like the fact that it's randomized as placebo-controlled. It was double-blinded. I like the fact it's got 80 people. That's, the more people, the better when it comes to a lot of these studies. So I'm intrigued by the study. I'd like to see it replicated again to see if we can find the same thing. But this is a unique ingredient that I have only noted so far in the Teami Tea Skinny Tea product. I haven't seen it elsewhere. I also want to point out to you that this is not something that's only unique to Teami Tea. I've seen this ingredient on Amazon, and I'll link to it in the description where you can grab it for yourself. It's just not in this product alone. Okay? So I'm on record. I believe the Skinny Tea active ingredients are Oolong tea and Jiao Gulam. I believe they are the key ingredients in the Skinny Tea. I don't think the mate contributes significantly to the effects of the Skinny Tea. And I bring this up because I think the product's a bit expensive, and I know people might say, well, can I just take the active, what I think of the active ingredients? Perhaps yes. Perhaps you could and save money. So let's leave Skinny Tea alone. Let's jump to the colon tea. In the colon tea, we have 9 different ingredients. The first ingredient is going to make up the most of what you see here. And the very first ingredient you see is senna. Senna is a well-known laxative. So they're kind of telling you it's a laxative right off the bat because it's called the colon tea. And when you see words like colon cleanse, that's a sign that the product's going to have a laxative. And senna is a very common laxative ingredient in colon cleanse products. I've seen it in other products as well. Hawthorn berry, it's probably got a little cholesterol lowering effect. That's great, but it tends to make the heart pump a little better. And I don't know why in the world it would be in a colon tea. Or any kind of weight loss tea product. Lotus leaf, nah, I don't think so. Lime and extract, that's probably for taste. Psyllium may provide a little bit of fiber, and that's why I've highlighted as well as senna, that it may provide a little bit of fiber, and that could actually help the effects of this as well. But interesting enough, when I look at the ingredients over here, I don't see any fiber listed, so I'm not quite sure of the contribution of psyllium itself. It's got a few other ingredients which I don't think have a lot to do with the effects of this ingredient. The 9th thing you see here is valerian root. That's kind of interesting. Valerian is a product that I normally see in insomnia supplements and anti-anxiety supplements as well, because there is some evidence that valerian can have a calming effect on the body. Now, another thing I want to point out here is that it does say that the Teami colon tea has plant-based caffeine as well. And my question is, where from? I looked at these ingredients and I don't see caffeine as an ingredient in these. So I'm a little fuzzy on where the caffeine is coming from. I reached out to their customer service. They couldn't tell me either. So if anyone knows where the caffeine is coming from, let me know. Regardless, there's not a lot of caffeine in the Teami colon tea or the Teami skinny tea for that matter. I reached out to the customer service, who was actually very, very polite and very prompt in getting back to me with my questions. So, kudos to the Teami tea customer service reps. They provided me with caffeine information on all their teas. Yeah, there's more than just the skinny and colon tea going on here. But if we look at the skinny tea, it's got about 35 milligrams per serving, and the colon tea's got about 23 milligrams. Again, where that 23 milligrams coming from, you got me, but it is what it is. There's no caffeine in the relaxed tea or the nursing tea. I think that's a good idea. And then the refresh and the bloom tea have the least amount of caffeine, coming in at 10 milligrams. Okay? All right, so let's just move right on. Here is a snapshot of my review of Teami Tea. And all I did here is I put their ingredients side by side so you can take a look at them and see what they had in common and not in common, okay? And in yellow, I've highlighted what I think might be the active ingredients in both, all right? Let's jump right ahead and move on to colon cleanses. Again, since we're talking colon tea, I want you to realize that there's a difference between your small intestine and your large intestine. Okay, this is my high-tech summary of how things work in the body. So your small intestine, which is not really small, it's about 20 feet long. The small intestine is where we absorb nutrients, proteins, fats, carbohydrates, phytonutrients, etc. This is where we absorb our energy from the small intestine. Now, anything that doesn't get absorbed in the small intestine gets dumped into the large intestine. Okay, what's down there? Your microbiome. All the bacteria and what they do is they eat the stuff that we don't eat, and they give off compounds that we in turn can use to stay healthy. Vitamins, enzymes, short chain fatty acids and stuff like that. So the large intestine is essentially where we store the poop. Okay. Now, colon cleanse supplements, they only work in the colon. Makes sense. Colon, it's in the name. Colon cleanse products do not have any effect on the small intestine. They don't stop us from absorbing nutrients. So when you take a colon cleanse product, what kind of weight are you losing? You're losing water, and you're losing poop, fecal matter, and that's really it. And some bacteria. Okay, and I bring this up also because there is some evidence that laxatives and colon cleanses, laxatives can appear to alter the diversity of the gut microbiome. What ultimately that does mean for health reasons, we're a little fuzzy at this time, but I want to throw that out to you in case you're concerned with the health of your microbiome. All right, but again, the big take-home message here is colon cleanse products. Any product we're talking about is really only working the large intestine, the colon, and the weight you're losing is short term. It's poop and water. Okay. So Teami Tea Pro and Con, I looked at the product and here is what I've come up with. Here's what I like and what I don't like about the product. If we look over on the left side, the Pro, Teami, it's a tea, so it's going to contribute to your total water intake. And I like that because I do think that many people watching this video may be suffering from subclinical dehydration. They don't drink a lot of liquids. And again, one of the signs of dehydration is you're tired. So if I can get you to drink a little bit more water, that may help your energy level, get out and do more stuff, burn more calories. That's a roundabout circuitous way in which the Teami Tea product might actually contribute to weight loss by giving you a little bit more energy from extra fluid, making you do more activity. It's easy to use, it's portable. I've seen the videos where you just pop the tea in a little tumbler and take it with you. That's a plus. If you make things easy for people, they're more likely to do it. So I get that. And I also consider it a plus that it doesn't contain a lot of caffeine. I think we're kind of over caffeinated in America and other countries. So I'll consider that a plus as well. Now, if we look over to the flip side, I do think it's an expensive product, okay? I also didn't like the fact that I didn't see any clinical research on Teami Tea itself. Yeah, there is some research on the ingredients. I like to see research on the product itself, okay? There may eventually be research on Teami Tea, but as of today, as I speak these words, I don't see any. It does have a little questionable ingredients, which we talked about in the beginning of this video. And again, the colon cleanse product contains a laxative. Again, we already just talked about what you're going to lose when you take a laxative. And then lastly, the product is actually made in Hong Kong, China. It actually says that on the label. And, it's sent over here to America and I'm guessing other countries as well. I consider that a con. Why in the world can't we make Teami Tea here in America? So I'll just say it. I think we outsource too many things in America. I want to bring more stuff here and employ more Americans. But that's just me. All right. So, summing up, here's what I think are the active key ingredients in the Teami Skinny Tea and Teami Colon Tea. In the Skinny Tea, it's Oolong Tea and Jiao Gulam. There's some, again, weight loss proof on both of these. And Colon Tea, your active ingredient is going to be senna. It's the first ingredient listed, and it's a laxative. So, guys, I hope this clears up any thoughts and questions you might have about Teami Tea. If you have any other questions, leave a comment below and I'll answer them myself. And I'll also put a link to my full review in the description as well. Guys, have yourself a fantastic day. I'm Joe Cannon, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.